Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon on this little bit hot afternoon. Fine to see you here again. A few now in the manner how Goethe looks at the organism, and we had a good introduction from Greg in the last talk. It was more theoretical, and we will try it now on animals, especially on mammals. But we will start with a few on the human being. And perhaps in the beginning, I will give just a little introduction of my person, because I worked in very difficult fields. After finishing my study, I worked with tropical bees in Munich, as in the university, and also in South America in the rainforests. And then I went to a Waldorf school in Bavaria and worked 16 years as a high-class teacher in geography and biology. And now 7 years ago, I went to the University of Witten Institute of Evolution Biology, together with Bernd Roslenbruch, somebody of you know him, and also on the Alanos University and on the Teacher Training Center in Witten. And in these last 7 years, I had the possibility to work with biology of form in the manner how Goethe taught us. And we have to do something here with the screen, I don't know.
Yeah, hang on.
And to understand this way to look on a mammal, or to look on all mammals, it's good first to have a look on the human being. And yesterday evening, we had the guided tour with Christoph, and we looked at the skeleton, on the threefoldness of the skeleton. And now we will start. If it would work, we will start.
It's a little difficult today.
It's a little bit, yeah. And we start with a few on the human being, but not on the skeleton, on the whole body. And we can found the same 3 parts if we saw yesterday evening. And the first part, which is easy to decide from the rest, is the head. And on the head, we have the center of our nervous system with the brain. And we have also the center of our sensory system, because the main senses, like the ears, the eyes, taste, smelling, is on the head. For example, also the temperature sense is best around our mouth, but we have temperature sense all about our body. And but the best part is on the head. And therefore we can say the head is the center of the nervous sensory system, but we have the nervous sensory system all over our body. And if we now go to the breast region, we have these big 2 organs, the heart and the lungs there, and the center of our rhythmic system with these 2 organs which need to be in rhythm all over our life, from the beginning with the birth, with the breath, until we will die. We need our breath and our heartbeat. And these two organs are also close connected, the heart and the respiratory system. They always work together, similar as the nervous and the sensory system. They are connected. Every sensory is connected with nervous cells, and they always work together. They never work against. And that's the same in the cardiorespiratory system. If I'm running, then my heartbeat will become faster, and my breath as well will become faster, and not only one and the other slower. And if we go down in the human body, then we have selected here in the diaphragm the completely other part, the metabolic organs, stomach, the gut, the liver. And these metabolic organs are also connected with another part, but this other part is much more difficult to understand. I think it's because in the nervous sensory system we are very conscious, very clear. Here in the middle, we are not so conscious, a little bit like sleeping perhaps. And in our metabolic system, we are completely sleeping. And the metabolic system is very close connected to the limb system, but that's difficult to understand in the first way. To understand this, let's have a look on some diseases. For example, if somebody has diabetes, for example, beginning diabetic type 2, then the person needs some insulin tablets after each meal. And if such a person has lunch, and the question is there a difference if he or she is working after lunch, sitting on a computer, or if he or she is walking for 1 hour? Do you know if there is a difference? If you ask a person with diabetic, what's difficult, yeah? If the person is walking, he will not need insulin or only few insulin normally. And if he's sitting, he will need more. And it's the same with this big part of digestive problems with a lot of people have in our societies. And if you ask people who are in holidays and in Switzerland walking for 2 weeks, the digestion often is nearly normal. But if they are sitting all the day, then they have problems. And then you can get a feeling that there's a connection between the metabolic and the limb system. You can also ask an animal doctor for some horse diseases with colic in the stomach, the best medicine, if the horse is walking or running enough. Then it will, in some cases, it don't need medicine. And then you get first a feeling that the metabolic and the limb system are very close connected. And it's also a similar connection as I showed you in the other two systems. But between these three systems, there is a big difference between the nervous sensory system and the metabolic limbs. They are antagonistic and they show us a polarity in physiology in a similar way as we saw yesterday on the skeleton. For example, if we compare a brain cell and a cell in our liver, if a brain cell dies, normally it's gone for all our life. There's nearly no regeneration possibility in our brain. Every part of the brain which dies, we have lost. And in our liver, it's the contrary. If it's necessary to cut away a big part, more than the half of our liver, the liver of a healthy person will grow until the normal growth. There's a possibility for regeneration. And in our brain, we are aware, we are conscious. Our daily consciousness is produced in our brain, and it's a contrary in our liver. Does everybody has pains in her or his liver? Anyone? Pains inside the liver? It's not possible, because inside your liver you don't have the nerves for pain. No, it don't exist inside the liver. It's far away from this upper part, from this nervous system, especially the liver. And that's to show you that there's a big polarity. And yesterday we heard that the mammals, if we looked at the limb exhibition there, that all the mammals have the same bones as we have. And all the mammals has also the same organs as we have. There's no completely other organ, from the blue whale to the tiny mouse, or from the bat to the ice bear. They have the same organs and the same bones. And therefore they have also these three systems. And they have also these, what I want to call threefoldness. And it's now interesting that these three systems in human beings are completely balanced. If we look at the forces behind these systems, then you can get the impression that they are completely balanced in human beings, and they are not in this way balanced in any mammal. And let's begin with an example. If we imagine this metabolic limb system, an animal which is very emphasized in the metabolic system, what do you think? Is it possible to be, or would it be a big animal or a small animal? Has it the possibility to create a big body if it has this metabolic force very strong? It should be, because the metabolic force is creating our body. And also in the limb system, this animal must be specialized, because it's very strong in the metabolic and in the limb system. And I think an animal which is very strong in this metabolic limb system, for example, should be a cow or a buffalo. A big animal and with very specialized limb system. And the contrary should be an animal which is very weak in the metabolic limb system, which is not specialized in the limb, not specialized in all the gut, the digestion. And then it has not the possibility to grow very big. And for example, such an animal could be a small mouse, like that, and compare it with a buffalo with 500 kilo. The same organs, but such a big difference. But the small mouse then is very emphasized in the nervous sensory system. It has a behavior very quickly, very fast, running around and looking and hearing and in all this sensory action. We will afterwards see the pictures and then I can show you a little bit. And if we have this polarity, we can also find an animal group where the rhythmic system is especially good, especially emphasized. It's an animal group normally not as big as a cow, not as small as mouses. And for example, like a dog or like a cat. The carnivores, middle size. And you can often see on the pattern, for example, on a cat or on a tiger, that you have rhythm. And we will see a lot of these typical pictures then. After this introduction, let's start to have a view on the rodents, on these very small animals, and I will show you how this nervous sensory system is emphasized in these tiny animals. And now it's necessary to see all details. I hope it's possible, or shall we make it darker? It's possible, because I see here more a mirror than a mouse, but if it's good for you, then it's fine. Then if you have a look on these long tactile hairs here, it's a sensory system, not a nervous, no, the sensory system, but connected with the nervous system. These big black eyes and the big ears. And that's similar in all these. There exists many, many species of mouses and rats. Here we have the house rat. And you can see these tactile hairs on the mouth, on the eye, or near the eyes, and all over the body of this animal. And a mouse has these tactile hairs not only all over the body, it has it also inside its mouth. And then you can ask you, is this adaptation? Is this only survival of the fittest? Or is this an impression if this nervous sensory system is so extreme in the little mouses? And you can also good see on this picture that these animals have more or less a big head because they're the center of the nervous system. But the hind part is also emphasized. If you make a drawing for students on the blackboard, then you need only such a form and a long tail, little feet, and everybody sees the mouse. But you need the back very big here. And afterwards we will see how is the main shape in the hoofed animals, in the contrary. Here we have a Norway rat, but the species is called Norway rat. I met this rat in Egypt on my hotel room, and we looked at each other for nearly 5 minutes, and slowly she allowed me to take some pictures. You can see these tactile hairs as well, and you can see the hand and the foot. Similar as we saw yesterday, it's not specialized. It's similar than our hand. It has not this possibility as we have, but is especially not specialized. If we look at the limbs of a cow or of a horse, then we will see animals with a specialized limb system. You can see the limb system is not specialized. but the nervous and the sensory system. And then what's the reason for this long tail? Is this only good adaptation or is it more? It is a long nervous sensory system as well, because it's elongation of the nervous system. And another wood mouse shows us the normal pattern of the rodents. They are completely brownish, but with a white belly. Nearly every mouse you can see, or I think every mouse, every small mouse, has a white belly. I don't know the reason why, but Goethe told us he's not interested in the why, he's asking about the how. How can I understand these phenomena? And look at this long tail. And now we switch to the giants of the rodents. And the biggest rodent in North America and Europe is a beaver. And the beaver has also a big tail, but not as long as in rat or mouses. And the beaver don't have the white belly. He likes the water. And a small mouse is not feeding on grass and leaves, but the beaver can feed it. What are the small mouses feeding? Nuts or grains. With high energy level, they need food with high energy level. And the best food are lipids, oils and lipids, nuts. No, they like it. The beaver, the giant rodent, don't need this. And like a buffalo, he has a brownish belly. Like a buffalo, he can eat leaves. Like a buffalo, he likes the water. And that's, for example, is, I wouldn't say a law, but it's like a rule. And you can find it in many mammal groups, that the biggest one, which are more or less emphasized on this metabolic limb size, they have the same, they show us the same things. They like the water, they are brownish, and they can feed on grass or on leaves. We will see afterwards as well. But that's the hobby of the beaver, no? If you are living near a creek or a lake where the beaver are living, then you know these pictures. His castle, his he constructs this by wood and mud and many things, and he is constructing all the nature. If there is a farmer nearby, then it's the farmer or the beaver get some problems, but that's on the wood and it's possible. And in the beginning, I told you that the middle of the mammal is the characteristic middle are the carnivores. And similar as the beavers are the biggest rodents inside the order of the rodents, we also have a middle group. And these are the squirrels. You see, the squirrel has a white belly as well. And on the next picture, you can see it has a nature of a carnivore as well. And I can give you one good tip. If you once would have a squirrel inside your house, don't catch it by your hand, because I did it one time and this is enough. And he perforated my thumb completely because I don't want to kill it. And then in the next moment, zack, he perforated my thumb because it's a small fighter, no? It's a middle, the nature of the middle. And in Europe, all mammals don't have bars or stripes or points, but in Eastern Europe, you can find the red mouse. And there you have a line on the fur. And this line goes from the head to the tail. It could be mimetic, but you can also see it as emphasizing of the nervous system. And this emphasizing of the nervous system beginning here, then along the column, and then is connected by the whole tail. And if you are looking for a pattern of other rodents, you will find a lot of stripes in America, in Asia, different countries. But I've never seen a rodent with bars, only with stripes. And if I taught this in 12th class in a Waldorf school, every year I promise the students, if they would bring me a real picture from a rodent with bars, then I will bring them a very good bar of chocolate. But every year I could eat it by my own because I haven't seen until today a picture with bars in a rodent. And you see the stripes in the head, on the body, and also on the tail. All striped, but no bars. And then it's possible that it's not only stripes, that's pointed lines. Lots of South American mammals, it's a continent of the rodents, and a lot of these South American rodents have stripes or different point patterns. Very interesting. So we can bring together, especially the European rodents, in an overview. We have the small mice with the white belly. In the middle, the squirrels, some of them with stripes, but not in Europe. And the beavers, or the beaver in South America, the biggest rodent is the capybara, like a dog, like that, without tail. Very nice animals. And also living into the water, feeding on leaves and completely brown. And now we will go to the next group, to the hoofed animals, where the metabolic limb system is especially emphasized. It's the contrary to the small rodents. And here we have the European bison or wisent. And now it's emphasized all in the top of the animal. It's much heavier here than here. It has a tiny back, and then on the head, the horns, a part of the front bone growing outside the head, the bone, the horn, and inside the bone, a part of our respiratory cavities are inside the horn as well. Completely crazy. But the big hoofed animals, they do this. All the cows, the family of the cows, and the deers as well. And you will see the same phenomenon, or much crazier in America. Look at this tiny back, this small tail. It's very interesting. In many animals, you see a small repetition of the head in the tail. You can also see this in birds. If you look, hairs, it's becoming black in the front legs and in the head, but so emphasized in the front. And in the winter, if it's minus 30 degrees, it's not such a good adaptation if you don't have hairs on your back. But it's the same in the winter. You will not be much longer hairs in the winter, this animal. And therefore, I will show you here these differences, these polarities, the hoofed animals and the middle rodent. It's white on the belly, it's brownish or black on the belly. And a lot of the forces is going in the back with these big different tails, and nearly everything of these forces is going in the front. And the first Goethean biologists, they lived nearly 14,000 years ago, because 2 years ago I went together with Bernd Rossenbruch to the Altamira cave in Spain, and we saw these impressionant paintings on the top of the cave. A European weasand, the same as in the last picture, and you see how they emphasize the front of this animal. They saw it exactly with this view as we try to see it, yeah. And the small back, the tail, but all the forces in the front. And if we look inside the cow, then we can see that there's this very big stomach, 4 or 5 chambers of the stomach. And if we have 5 to 6 meters of gut, all inclusive, then the cow has nearly 60 meters. This is metabolic emphasizing. But it's not very clear how it looks in the environment, how it looks in the world. If you are talking with a cow, you need a lot of time. It's possible. But if you compare it with a small mouse or with a squirrel, it's always busy and hurrying and looking around. And if you had mouses inside your own house, you know how busy they are. They damage nearly everything they got, equal if they can eat it or not. And it's the same in a lot of these animals. Nearly completely dark, the African buffalo. Or I talked with him in the Nile. It's an Indian water buffalo, but it was in Egypt on a Nile river trip. And we made a stop there about some hours. And he went into the river just to ruminate, for chewing, for 2 or 3 hours. And I spoke a little bit with him, and then he answered, but he's
In Egypt or in Indian?
he speaks German.
Okay.
I don't know why. But he was sitting inside the island. Yeah, also in the hoofed animal group, we have a middle. In the middle are the pigs. And I will show you only that picture, and you can see the babies of the pigs, they have stripes, but not as directed as in the squirrels, a little bit with curves, but they are striped. And we has also in the hoofed animals, here you can see that a pig is also a hoofed animal, like a cow. And we have also another group which are sensory more open, but also big animals, and these are the horses. And we don't have so much time. I will show you only some pictures here of wild horse to show you the far pattern. It's also white on the throat and on the belly, and also on the limbs. And on the top, it has the mane and a black stripe until the tail. The most donkeys has also this stripe. These are domestic donkeys and no wild donkeys. There exists forms completely dark, but this has a touch of this rodent fur pattern. And so we can bring this together that the hoofed animals at an overview show us the horses on the sensory side, the pigs in the middle, and the extremely metabolic side, the cows and the ruminants. And now let's have a last view on the last main group of mammals, the carnivores, with the rhythmic system especially emphasized. And we will start with the cats. But first I will short tell you most of these pictures I showed you are from the book of Wolfgang Schad, which lays here on the table. Threefoldness in Human and Mammals, in German and in English. Two books, because he wrote more than 1,000 sites about this phenomenon, which I just can give you a small impression today. But he worked exactly in this perspective of Goethe, comparing the phenomenon with their own thinking and with discussing with other researchers. And therefore, the main pictures the most pictures I show you are from Schad, and some are my own pictures. Therefore, I have not written the photograph. And now came a lot of cats, which where I took the pictures to show you the 4 patterns in cats. On the head, normally, if there are patterns, you have stripes, like the nerves are running on the body. And then here it stops, and then it becomes to go on the side to bars and different lines on the back. And that's very interesting to compare some different cats. It's Toby, a friend of mine living in Berlin. And Toby showed this very typical for cats. Here we don't have bars, but we have a mixture from bars and pointed lines, but in this direction. And in the longitudinal direction and the head, and only on the back. And the tail in every striped cat, it is in bars. But then you can find different different mixtures of white and different patterns. But I also looked for pictures where we can show me a cat with a white back and patterns are brownish or black belly or underpart. And I also asked my students for 2 bars of chocolate. I never get a photo with a cat which is black, white on the top and dark on the rest. And then you can see that's the white belly. We know it from the rodents. And now it's very interesting if we look at the behavior of cats, because everybody knows cats inside the house and all over the world. And the world is overcrowded by cats. And they are laying on the chair, on the sofa, completely relaxed. I will need 10 minutes, but then we have time to discuss. But thank you. They are completely relaxed. It's the behavior of a cow, but the cow is relaxed all in her life, or nearly all in her life, if he's healthy and if there are no fear. but the normal behavior of a cow is very, very calm and relaxed. And in the cat, it's only until he saw a little bird or a mouse outside of the window, and then the behavior is completely changing, and you have like another animal, and sometimes it will hurt you or bite you, because it can change so quickly. And that is, I think, the same phenomenon which we saw yesterday on the skeleton, with the spherical head and the radial limb and the penetration in the middle. We saw yesterday on the rib cage and on the backbone. And you can see exactly the same in the behavior of cats. They have both sides, but they don't have completely a third new element. They connected the two opposite elements in behavior as in the fur curtain, as in their whole element. And that's this element which I called the open secret of the middle, because it's like a secret, but you can understand it, because you will find this connection, this penetration only in middle systems. But you cannot only find it in cats or in animals and in human beings. In my research, I also found it in the threefoldness in the shape of trees, for example, in the botanic. You can also find exactly the same principle with a penetration in the middle. You can also find it in other animal groups. I made a paper about bees and all over the insects. It's much more complicated, but you can see exactly the same principle. You can find it in snakes, for example. We made also a paper in the threefoldness of snakes, or in the biology of form. But now let us continue with the middle. We go to Greece. Rhodos is full with wild cats, and you can take different pictures of them. And isn't that fantastic? You have the white belly, and here you have a spiral. And where can you find spirals in mammals? Only in the gut. In all vertebrates, there are not many spirals, but you can find it in the gut system. And where's this spiral? Yeah, near the metabolic part. And also here, very interesting forms. And in the middle, you can get the impression that nature is playing with these elements. I think you told it yesterday as well. Only in the middle, the cows and the mouses are not playing in this sense, but in the middle, in different groups, you can get this impression. That's a German, very strange cat, but white on the belly. Yeah. And that's my star picture from Rhodos, a white-bellied cat laying for a suitcase with two pictures of white-bellied kitten. Yeah, it's all the same, but no, it's not white on the top. And let's have some more impressions of other cat if they are playing with these patterns, like flowers pointed. That's South American jaguar. The leopard, it looks white, but it's yellow, and also with a white belly, but with spots. Another part of this playing with the elements, but we can understand the element which they are playing with. Yeah? It's not completely that he is completely out of these principles. It's all the same principle in my manner. Very nice cat, the clouded leopard, very endangered species. And then we also have the biggest cat from Africa, and there is the metabolic system, very huge in the lions. And you see not the bars typical for so many cats, not for all, but for the many cats. You see impression similar to the bison, no? So much force in the top, but the tail is longer. Small repetition on the tail here. And this big mane. And It's the same in many groups, as I told you before, if this metabolic limb system is so much more emphasized. But the baby of the lion is spotted in bars, in the manner of bars. It's similar you can see in the puma, on the puma in North America, South America as well. And in my opinion, the typical big cat is the tiger with these very impressive stripes, or bars, no stripes. Endangered, but a very, very, yeah, very impressive species. And in the middle of the carnivores, in my opinion, we have only two groups all around. We have also these threefoldness. And the other group are the dogs. It's the red fox, and another family, all the dogs and the hyenas as well. This group is not so keen on feeding on meat. They are carnivores, but they can also feed on fruits and on other plants. A cat will never do this. And then you can perhaps better understand that it's not with bars or with pointed. All the or nearly all the species in the carnids in the family of dogs. He is very clever. He can climb if you want. And I met his small brother in the Sahara 2 years ago, in the Egyptian Sahara. It was very interesting. We rested there for the night, and I don't know if it's possible to see in these slides. No. We gave him some rice, but we were a vegetarian group and we had no meat, so we had to feed on vegetables and some water, but a desert animal don't like water. A little bit, but nearly no water. It's not necessary. And an egg. He was interested on this egg, but it's difficult to see. You see the fire behind. It's too dark. And it was 2 meters in this distance. I'll ask Christoph, because it's, yeah, he knows people and has no fear. The fear is the desert, is the heat. But there are no animals which can dangerous for him. And now it begins from there. Well, show you this, but no, then on the end he's running away with the egg for his children, but it's not good to see here. And then let's come to the end. In the middle of the carnivores is first not a threefoldness, in my opinion. You have these two branches, the cats and the dogs. You can see a lot of these and much more animal group here on this picture. And on the end, I will show you the skulls, because these elements of threefoldness, which I showed you now, there are much more examples to show this. For example, the food. The rodents are feeding on lipids, not only, but they like lipids and oils. And they are feeding on proteins, the carnivores, and they are feeding on celluloses, on grass. And these are the three nutrition elements we have all over the world. We also feed on lipids, on proteins, and carbohydrates. And this you can see in these three animal groups. And you can also see that every mammal has 3 types of teeth. And the canines are very impressive in the rodents. Oh no, sorry, the incisors, the front teeth, and the canines in the carnivores, and the molars in the ruminants or in the hoofed animals. And then you can see that in human being we have all types, not the whole number of possible dentition, but all types of teeth. And in our skull, they are all in one line, and we don't have such a diaphragma like here, and we don't have bigger canines or other teeth. They are all balanced, like these three elements are balanced in human beings. And I showed you these things now very fast because we don't have so much time, but I will finish with this one sentence from Goethe. Just don't look anything behind the phenomena. They themselves are the lesson. And I tried in this short time to give you an impression how we are working in this manner which Goethe taught us, and looking on the phenomena and then go in reflection and thinking and go in discussion. And that's a way of Goetheanistic science if we tried it. Then thank you very much for listening and for thinking together with me.